All right. So welcome, everybody. We're all set to get the show on the road. Again, you're all here because you're going to be posted to Halifax, and I'm here to try and make that journey and all the steps in between a little bit easier. We'll carry on from there. So you can see on your screen a picture of the waterfront of Halifax. And at the very bottom center, you'll see a little puppy dog there. So you can try and think in your own head anyway what kind of breed of dog that might be. So here we go. The session that we're doing tonight will be recorded, and it has started now. So as you can see on the screen, the reason we're able to bring this session to you today is thanks to True Patriot Love's funding of the virtual training for both the Greenwood MFRC and the Halifax MFRC staff. All right. So, as you can see, I am Nancy Belanger. I'll be your host and your guide for the presentation tonight. So I'm so glad that you could join us today. For myself, I've traveled to every province in Canada, and I'm proud to call the Halifax region home. I love working to offer relocating members and families the resources and the welcome that I would appreciate myself. Though you may feel like you may have 1,000 tasks to do before arriving in Nova Scotia, time will pass quickly, and soon you'll be enjoying Nova Scotia's great experiences, beauty, history, and maritime hospitality. You'll hear me say that quite a few times throughout the presentation. The next hour is sharing the experience of relocation, adding some humor. But being a very practical person myself, I wanted to be sure that you gain some real tools and information and strategies that you can use right now and throughout your move to the Halifax region. So, without further ado, our adorable puppy from the opening slide is actually the official dog for Nova Scotia. It's called a duck-tolling retriever. And the reason I mention it is kind of funny. The qualities of this dog that they list are actually very indicative of Nova Scotia people and the province. So this dog is a mixture of breeds, and Nova Scotia is a mix of many people and our roots. There's the Mi'kmaq, the British, the Scots, the French, and many, many other people that have come since then. This puppy is also highly intelligent, which refers to the fact that Halifax is actually the highest per capita for higher education institutions. The puppy is also easy to train and obedient, perhaps a reference to our military discipline. It also loves to be outside, lots of exercise, strong swimmer. So certainly in Halifax, you'll find that there's water of every kind, lakes, oceans, streams, rivers. It's amazing. And lastly, these puppies, like Nova Scotians, are very entertaining companions. And again, that comes back to our laid-back and maritime hospitality. So Nova Scotians are very special indeed, and I can't wait till you arrive here. All right, so if you look at the agenda on the screen, you can see that there's a few things that we're going to get through tonight. I hope that it has something to offer for those that have never been here before, those that may have been away for a while, or even those that are returning home. Halifax region is changing and growing every single day. So our MFRC is actually the largest in Canada, so let's move on. Myself. As you can see by my title, my role at the MFRC doesn't just stop with welcome. In fact, you'll find that when you arrive here, almost every maritimer will be your welcome and make you feel at home. My welcome program is extensive, from receiving your posting message through your preparations and house hunting trips until after you arrive. I'm also part of a great team of professionals called Community Integration. We all offer you a piece that will help you not only meet other military community members, but will help you to truly settle and thrive and experience your new communities as we do here. So you can also see from my outline that I'm a veteran, a spouse, and a mother of three, so I certainly get all that that we're all experiencing in relocations. And I have a great volume of people that come here, over 650 members and their families every year. All right, so moving on. I also want to introduce Joanna Church, and she's the one that's been getting you through all these hips and jumps, and she's our MacGyver, and she'll be producing this, helping us get through this. She's the magic behind the things that are happening on the screen, and she's also my mentor in teaching me about virtual presentations. You can see that she is a virtual program developer with the Canadian Military Family Services of North America. She co-facilitated the course, How to Adapt a Live Presentation to a Virtual Audience. She is truly a great communicator and a mentor for me, and I thank you, Joanna. All right. So, to you, all of you that have taken the time to log in tonight, let's hear about you. So it's a quick opportunity for us to share some experiences with postings. Since you've already tested your audio when you're logging in, and in the interest of time, I'll just ask each of you to unmute and briefly answer the questions that you see on the slide, and Joanna will scribe your answers. In this way, we'll discover some of the interesting and funny parts about relocation. And some of us may be on our first move, and others may be veterans of posting, so it'll be fun to see what comes up. All right, so I'm going to go through here. Andre, if you want to write into the chat box the answers to that. So how many moves have you done, your favorite posting location so far, and a funny experience that happened during your move. All right, so Joanna's already put hers in. Let's hear from Heather. Can you unmute, Heather, and let us know?
Yep, so this will be my first move.
Congratulations.
Yeah, my husband's doing his on-the-job training. He's finished university 2 years ago, so although that wasn't an official military move, so this will be our first move, I think.
Very good. So you haven't had a posting location yet? Have you, perhaps there's a city that you like within Canada?
Yeah, we're very open. We like to travel and see and do, and we have friends and family throughout the country. So for us, they're very open, and we love the water. So we're looking forward to heading.
You're all set in Halifax. There's lots of it.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Awesome. Thank you, Heather. Karen, how about you? How many moves?
This is our first move.
Congratulations.
I moved around a lot when I was a kid, so my favorite thing about moving is finding out whose boxes you get.
Yes.
Literally not your own.
It's like Christmas.
Yes.
So that's both funny and oh dear. You gotta love that. What can you do? But you gotta laugh at the things that happen during relocation, can't you?
That's right.
Awesome. Thank you, Karen. Paige, what could you tell us? How many moves? Oh, have we lost Paige? Oh, there we go. She's typing. First time posting to Halifax.
We have a lot of first-timers.
Holy cow, this is great. Hopefully, you've got that in common. You can all understand you're all in the same page.
Yeah. I just think her microphone's not working. That's okay, Paige. You can just use the chat.
That's all right. Chat works. From the prairies. There you go. I'm from the prairies as well. Way back when. That's great. I hope you all enjoy the East Coast. I certainly love it here. Perfect. And Renato, he must have been typing in. So
yeah,
he's in the process of screening.
Yes, his wife is in the process of screening. So looks like this will be their big move, first move too. So awesome.
Holy cow. This is awesome. Well, see, in one little session, you've already met 4 of the people that will be doing this journey. Maybe not exactly the same time, but pretty similar, and you'll all be here at the same time. That's exciting. Renato, please keep in touch. You can see for all of you at the bottom of the screen, my email is at the bottom there. So you're more than welcome to reach out to me at any time. I often do get people that reach out to me long before they get the posting message and try to get a feeling for the province and the city and what we have to offer here and what this MFRC has to offer. So please don't be shy to reach out and go along. So, I mean, it's a great group we've got here. So just try to remember, as you're deep in the business of moving, making your lists and making all your decisions, that you're not alone in this special experience, and you can see that just from the people that are here tonight. I also suggest don't forget to reach out to your friends and your family and maybe the MFRC that's in your city right now. And just try to remind yourself that years later you may even laugh about some of your moving adventures, just as we have this evening. Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing, everyone. All right, so we're going to teach you a few little tools and tricks here, and it's just to help us communicate a little bit while we're doing a session, and maybe for future sessions that you're going to do. There's more and more virtual training all the time. So there's 6 key tools that we're going to just touch on in our virtual session today. You can use these tools to help actively engage in the presentation and as well as interact in a variety of ways with myself or the other participants. All right, so our 6 tools are the mute button, the raise hand, the yes and no buttons, the smiley faces, and also the coffee emoticons. And finally, the chat function. Now, you pretty well touched on the chat function, but still great to have, and you found that on the screen. So first, using the mute. The participants panel is located at the top right-hand screen of the WebEx screen. And in this box, you'll see a list of names that show the host, presenter, and all of you as the attendees. The participants, like yourself, can mute and unmute, as we have so far. All right, so second, I'm going to touch on raising your hand. It sounds like we're back in school again, huh? So below the participant panel are the tools in the form of emojis. The raise hand function is found here. You can see the yellow arrow there that Joanna has put. And we can use that so that we don't talk over each other. So to raise your hand, you just click on it once, and it's a toggle. So if you want to lower it, you click again. If you want, you can try and do that right now. Raise your hand and lower your hand.
You can see I'm demonstrating it.
Awesome. Karen got it. We all got it. And Heather, Renato is working on it. There you go. You got it. Excellent. Great job. All right. The third thing I wanted to touch on is the yes and no, which is just beside there. To the right of the hand is the green check, and we would use that for a yes, and the red X. So we would use that to help you respond to yes or no questions during the presentation. For example, have you been on your house hunting trip yet? So if you can put a check mark for yes, you've been on your house hunting trip, or an X for no. Not yet, and Paige has. Congratulations, that's a big step getting that done. All right, the fourth thing I wanted to touch on is a tool with the smiley emojis. You probably are familiar with this from perhaps a cell phone. And it's a little bit to the right of the yes and no buttons, and you can access the smiley emojis there. Beside the smiley icon, you see the black drop-down arrow, which is common in many of the tools throughout. And it tells you that there's a choice. So if you click on the drop-down menu, beside the smiley emoticon, you'll open up a choice of emojis. There's a few there, pretty cool ones. I always like the one with the sunglasses, but and coffee as well. So moving on to coffee emoji, we use that. If you as a participant can put that up every time you need to leave the session for a minute. Maybe you have to run to the bathroom, maybe you have to deal with the dog or whatever. And it's just so that we know, as the people presenting, that you've stepped away on purpose and you're just not having IT issues. The other emoticons that are there are the standing ovation for clapping and celebrating, or the sleep emoticon with the little Z's. So those are handy little emojis to use in presentations and interactions. And the last thing I wanted to touch on was at the lower right-hand corner of your monitor, and that's the chat. So we've all gone through that. One thing I will point out is just above where you type, it says all participants. And you can use the drop-down arrow beside it and choose which participants you want to speak to. In general, people tend to leave it with all participants, but that means that everyone can see what you're typing, all right? If you change it, you'll need to change it back to all participants for everyone to see. Does anyone have any questions? They can speak or put their hand up. And if not, if we're all good, I'll just move on to the next page. All right. So this shared relocation experience, we're going to connect and reflect, as they say. I know that you may be anxious to get down to the specific links and tools and facts about the Halifax region, but I'm just going to ask you to take a moment to look at this slide first. Moves are so much more than just moving things or locations. They are psychological moves too. Sometimes they're easy and exciting, sometimes challenging and difficult. Some are planned well in advance, and some are the infamous short fuse postings of 30 or 60 days. Where you're all new to this, you haven't experienced that yet, hopefully, but every once in a while we get thrown those. So we know that during moves of all kinds, each of us can benefit from making a moment to reflect on our own state of mind or emotions, where we are on the mental health continuum, and also what topics such as childcare or employment are most pressing at the moment. And there are commonalities across all people, cultures, and moves of all kinds. So as you feel comfortable, just take a look at the words on the screen. They are issues and topics and emotions that may be on your mind today or at some point during your move. You can use the chat box to share which of the words on this screen you most identify with and may be particularly relevant to you now. Or if you prefer, you could unmute and just speak if you feel comfortable speaking. So we're seeing here money, cost of living, cultural differences, and language. There you go. Yeah, it's a big difference for sure, depending where you're coming from, what your background is. For you, where you're all in your first move, exactly, the lost friendships. You're going from something that's probably nice and familiar to you to something that's unknown, but there's certainly an amount of adventure in that. Employment, yes, that's always a challenge these days. Perhaps 20, 30 years ago, people sometimes were able to live on one income, but not so much anymore. And we're going to touch on employment a little later in the presentation and give you some contacts and options that you can follow up on. Money, cost of living, loneliness for sure. 6 months is a long time to be apart, huh? And leaving your parents. So a lot of people will find this, you're leaving sometimes your social network, what's supporting you, what's familiar to you, but you're gaining as well. You may hear as you travel through your life in the military that every time you're posted you find someone that you may know from before, and you'll find new friends and new people that are experiencing the same thing as you. The military and the process is indeed overwhelming. I totally understand that, Heather. There's a lot of paperwork and bureaucracy and steps to follow. You're certainly all in the boat. And please don't feel like you're doing this on your own. Reach out to someone like myself that's perhaps at the MFRC where you are now, or reach out to me because I'm your friend coming to Halifax, and we can help you with so many little steps. And that was the point of this session tonight, is to let you know that you're all experiencing similar feelings. It's perfectly normal for such a big process, a big move. And later in the process of these slides, you're going to see some real things that you can do and accomplish even now before you even left your home. So it's definitely a new adventure. I appreciate you guys sharing that for sure. It's It's going to be a change, and again, even the language, I don't know if you put that in there, Andre, but the language differences as well. But there are a lot of francophones here, so you'll find it's just a matter of connecting and getting through that. So we're going to keep on going a little bit. Thank you for your honesty. Trust that everything will be good. Reach out to the MFRCs. If you're not sure who to reach out to in your own city right now, drop me a note. I can help you with that, and also I can help you from this end as well. All right. So you're Halifax Bound. So you're coming here. I'll just give you a little snapshot of what the city is all about here. The Halifax region is different than many other places because we have all three forces here. There's Navy, Army, and Air Force. A lot of people forget that the Army's here, but they are. So it's a whole mix of contrasting things. We've got history, a lot of history here, but it's a modern city. There's a lot of military and government and healthcare. It's a university town. We have both urban and rural, even within the Halifax region. There's a lot of fun tourism. It's very touristy. So there's a lot of awesome events that happen throughout the year, but especially in the summer season. So as you arrive, you'll have so many festivals to try out, from the buskers to our immigration at Pier 1. Sometimes the tall ships are here, the food fest, the open doors. Just a ton of activities for you to do once you arrive. Halifax is also known for its many pubs, but it's not just pub food. If you're a foodie, you're set to go. There's a lot of great places here, and there's a couple magazines that can tell you about that as well. For language, yes, we have English here, yes, we have French here, but a lot of people don't realize that the second most spoken language here is actually Arabic. So there are a lot of Lebanese people here and people of Arabic descent. So that's a surprise for some people moving here. Obviously, Nova Scotia is surrounded by water. So it has over 13,000 kilometers of coast because of all the little inlets that you go through. There's oceans and lakes and trails, so there's a world to explore for sure. And what does Halifax have? Its maritime charm. All right, moving on to our MFRCs. So in the Halifax region itself, there's 2 sites. We do have a 3rd site up in Cape Breton, but where you're all coming to the Halifax region, we've got that here. We have services for singles and families, people that are, even if you haven't declared being common law, or you have parents, anyone that worries about you, we're here for all of you. We have 2 websites. We have a Halifax MFRC website you see there, and we also have a CAF Connection website. Both have similar information. The top one focuses a little bit more on our programming and some of the detail, and the CAF Connection one focuses on both us and PSP, which is the organization that oversees the military gyms and fitness centers. So that both of those are great resources for you. And of course, we have our Facebook, we have Twitter and Instagram. We also have that central telephone number that's at the top in the box there, the 427 number. So that is one central number that links you to the staff, perhaps booking casual chair if you have children, for program registration, and that phone number is actually 24/7. It operates 24/7 live voice for some services. So after hours, we can provide resources that include short-term accommodations, financial resources, and emergency childcare services. We can also connect you with the duty padre. So translating, that would be a chaplain. And because they're in uniform, they're often a great resource if there's a family emergency and the person is deployed. As for myself, I've touched on it a little bit already, the welcome program that we have here. I built it from scratch 7 years ago. Started by getting those posting messages so I knew who was coming. And then I take people through 3 stages of welcome, which is before, during, and after the move. And I provide a whole variety of information that you need in your move, including housing, healthcare, employment, childcare, schools, transportation, and of course, MFRC programs that you may enjoy once you're here. Perhaps you've already received a welcome email from me. I do send those out to give you that start on things. We offer a welcome guide. We have volunteers that are willing to give you a call and help you get settled in as well, both before and after. We have tools and links, welcome packages in a paper form as well, and all of our websites that can link you and connect you with your new community. And perhaps once you arrive here, we've got your address, we'll have a postcard that we can send you and remind you that we're here. So we certainly have a lot to offer. Again, as I pointed out before, just touch on my email there. You can send me an email at any time, and I'm here for you. All right. So you can see we're going to go over the things that you can do. As I said before, what can you do right now? If you'd like to share, you can use the chat feature and let me know if you have decided to rent or to buy. So that's just, I'm going to touch on all things anyway, but that's the start of deciding. Choosing a neighborhood is a big process, and that's why it's great that you can start now. So if you do your research now, you can advocate. So Halifax is an amalgamation of over 200 communities, and it's over quite a large geographical area, actually the size of PEI. So if you get yourself a real estate agent or a rental search agent, if you're going to be renting, they can be your best advocate. And so I can't tell you it's the best neighborhood or the best fit for you, but things that I tell people to consider would be where are you going to be working or posted, because sometimes there's parking issues. If you are all family members, do you drive? That will change perhaps where you work. How many vehicles do you have? Is that going to be a commuting issue? Do you like to have access to the open ocean or a lake, or would you rather have a postage stamp house and go from there? Do you prefer city services such as water and septic, or do you want to have the city life, the country life? We have bridges, which is where the title of the presentation came from. If you can see in the top corners of this PowerPoint slide, you can see the two bridges there, and that will influence sometimes people where they choose to live. Also, there's a great range in budget, what housing, whether it's rental or purchase, that you can afford. Consider healthcare. If you have pressing healthcare issues, maybe you want to be closer to some of the hospitals. And also schooling. We're going to touch on all these topics a little bit later in the presentation. But as I said, just do your research now. So if you're looking at purchasing, there's a website there. Now that's a particular real estate company that's unique to Nova Scotia, and you can get an agent from anywhere you want. It's just that they have a wonderful website with a wonderful map on it, and you can go to use this map. It'll tell you not only the homes for sale, it'll tell you recently sold homes and how much they went for. You can click on it and find out about taxes, where schools are. There's a whole variety of information. So you just go to that website, make a free profile, and use that for a little bit of research before you come here on your house hunting trip. If you're going to rent, you can just go over to our website. Either one of our websites has a list of rentals. There's links there on both sites. And there's the websites where you can go. You can use drop-down menus to sort of narrow down your search like you would with a house based on what you want to pay for a rent. And you can go through those and start looking to see on that particular area in your price range what you can find there. There's both houses and apartments for rent. For base accommodations, if you're going to be on purpose looking to stay on the base, because you're a single member, then we have a couple of sites where you can get base accommodations depending on what rank you are. There's different options there. Now that's not to be confused with the military housing. So the second one down, as you're seeing, there's quite a few acronyms as we go along. So military housing, they were always referred to as PMQs, married quarters. Now they're called residential housing units, but these are units that are owned by the military. They're there for military people to use, and they're rent. So the Canadian Forces Housing Authority is the one that oversees that, and you can just give them a call. That's the direct number there, and get on the list to have that. They prioritize it based on a lot of things, but where you're coming and you have nowhere else to live, you'll be one of the highest priorities. So definitely, if that's a thought in your mind, reach out to them now. So all these things that we've gone through here, you can see, are things that you can do now, even before you leave and get on that house hunting trip. So hopefully, using these sites to research will help both you and your agent that you have here plan for your house hunting trip, and it'll help you get to know your community and feel a little bit more prepared in all the busyness of this move. All right. As far as reaching out to the PMQs, yes, you certainly can reach out to the PMQs as the spouse, for sure. All right. The bridges are awesome. You have a great view of the city, and I'll touch on a little bit better later on about crossing those bridges, which is right here. So here we are, all things transportation. So there's lots of options. First of all, if we have people, so we've got someone coming from Victoria, the Prairies, people that come from certainly Manitoba and British Columbia, you're used to the province having covering the insurance for your vehicles. Everything is done through them. In Nova Scotia, it's private insurance. So the Halifax region is, I just lost my words. What you'll find when you arrive here and you're trying to get your cars registered and get around the city is that because Halifax is quite old, the streets are basically based on what used to be cobblestone, maybe even horse paths. So you'll find that the streets will suddenly become a different name. Lanes may suddenly reduce or change into a turning lane or even a 5-street intersection. So update your GPS and enjoy the scenery as you travel along. So talking about when you're coming here, I don't know if you're going to be driving here or flying here, but eventually when you come to Nova Scotia, there is a toll highway that's between Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. So when you enter Nova Scotia, you'll need to have $4 cash. It's the only toll highway that we have. The cities are also connected with bridges and some major highways. So when you come to get your inspection done, you'll go to these central offices called Access Nova Scotia, and you need to get your vehicle inspected. So if perhaps you're coming from Ontario, they have inspections there, but what they're inspecting for there is different than Nova Scotia. So you do have to get a Nova Scotia inspection done and continue to have that done every 2 years. And then once you have that done and have your insurance in place, you would go to Access Nova Scotia to get your plates and your driver's license. There's 3 different offices in the area: Halifax, Dartmouth, and Sackville. All right, crossing the bridges. So there is a toll, as Joanna had alluded to. If you're paying cash, it's $1, but you can get a discount by getting a transponder to cross our bridge. It's called a MAC Pass. You can see it there. It's a little transponder that you can put in your car. You can use it to get a discount of 20 cents each time. But because you can use it to pass through any lane on the bridge, it's much faster to get through the tolls. You can order it online, have it mailed to your house, or you can drop into the offices and pick one up. It does work on both bridges. You can set it up to use it in our airport parkade, and you can also use it to set it up on that toll highway that I just talked to a little bit before, and you'll get a 50% discount. So it's a great option. There's no monthly fee for it, so it's no reason not to is usually what I'll tell people. As far as military parking goes, this is something that's not everyone's used to. You're all on your first move, so maybe this is your first experience. Most bases, a lot of bases anyway, the parking is on the base is free. But here, there's limited parking, again, because it's an old city. So you actually need 10 years of military service to even qualify to get a parking pass. And it also comes with a taxable benefit that you have to include. Shearwater is the exception, but otherwise all the other military parts of the city have those requirements. If you don't have 10 years service, then you will need to look at other forms, such as just below there, the public transport, perhaps carpooling, using our ferries to cross the harbor, and then and there's taxis as well. So there's a variety of different options there that you can look at. And you'll find what works best for you. I certainly recommend that people do a little test run closer to when you're going to be actually starting to go to work to get used to the traffic that may happen. So the public transportation, it's there are buses, there's a few express routes and whatnot, but we can help you with all that. You can go to 311 and ask about that, or just ask me, and I'll give you all the information that you need for that. All right, so for bicycling, some people are, some cities are great for bicycling, again, because it's an old city, narrow streets. It's somewhat limited, challenging in the downtown core of Halifax Peninsula, for sure. There's certainly very few bike lanes in the main part of the city. But as you go to the outside, there's a lot of trails. In fact, they've turned some of our railways into trails. And it's fantastic for weekend biking, and it's called Rails to Trails. So certainly recreationally, it's a great option. Some people do commute by bicycle, but just something to think about as you're moving forward. Maybe talk to your neighbors in the area where you finally end up going. So in summary, like your housing choices, just consider where you're working, the costs, and even the weather here. It's certainly may be different than where you're coming from, and I can better explain that in person as well, but something to consider as you're going along with your sorting out your transport here. So I've talked a little bit here. Does anyone have any questions, or I know you've been chatting with Joanna here about inspections and whatnot.
Yeah, can you, I typically it's 90 days, but am I correct in that for Nova Scotia, that you have 90 days to do all of your car things?
Yeah, most provinces are pretty similar. What happens, because you're being reimbursed for part of your expenses in re-registering your car and your plates and whatnot, people will do it often quite quickly after they arrive, just so that they can put in their receipts and get reimbursed for part of it anyway. So yes, if as a civilian moving province to province, there's some things, but we're all of you are under the military and Brookfield purview. A lot of people will just get it done so that they can settle up that claim. Any other questions? Perfect. Yeah, almost anybody will do inspections. So the inspections are pretty straightforward. We use a lot of salt on the roads here, so they're looking a lot at the undercarriage to see if there's any damage and whatnot. A little bit different than other provinces. All right, another thing that you can do. Put some thought onto healthcare. All right, Halifax, for all of Nova Scotia, is the center of specialty for all of Atlantic Canada even, no less Nova Scotia. We have some great hospitals here. We have internationally accredited paramedics. Dalhousie University produces most of the medical professionals here. And we have a children's and women's hospital called the IWK that's simply amazing. So it's a great place to be as far as having those specialties around and having some ERs and hospitals in the area. However, the next point there is that we are experiencing an extreme shortage of family physicians. In fact, we have none that are taking patients right now. So right now we are looking at over 45,000 Nova Scotians that have no family doctor. There's a wait list that you can add add your name to. But where you are relocating families with the military, our MFRC has been able to secure a relationship with Maple Virtual Healthcare. So this is logging in, much as we're doing tonight. You would log in to visit with your physician online. You can use the video if you choose to. You can just chat as we're chatting in our chat box. They can offer to write prescriptions as long as they're non-restricted prescriptions. They are fast. You can definitely log in and from the comfort of your own home. They are able to refer to specialists, which you're not, it's very difficult to do if you don't have a family physician. So it's a great option that way. And if you haven't already received my email, just reach out to me, send me an email or call me, and I'll send you a little bit more information about that. But so you can get more information about the Maple option and start signing up for that if you wish. Your access to this program will be for 1 year, but great option when you first move here. I still recommend that you add yourself to the physician waiting list because, first of all, we'd like the province to know that there are more people that need to find a family physician, and your Maple option is only good for 1 year. So how do I do this? So to get yourself on that waiting list, you would need to get that healthcare card, which you also see there, the blue card, the MSI card. To get that, you don't even have to go to the office if you don't want to. Most people would just call in and they'll mail the card straight to you. And you can get that for all family members. If you were a Canadian moving between provinces, you would have a waiting period of 3 months, but because you are a military family, you just mention that when you call in and they'll waive that waiting period so that you can get that MSI card right away. There's no cost for this MSI card. Once you have your MSI card, then you can register to be on the family wait list. So you would just call 811, which is our registered nurse line. You can call them between 11 and 7, Monday through Friday, and have your name added to the wait list. You can also do it from the provincial website. Again, the link to the website is in the email that I send everyone, and you can go ahead with that as well. So there are options, in the meanwhile, while you're waiting for that family physician or maybe after your Maple has run out, you'll want to look at finding the walk-in clinics in the area. There are a lot of walk-in clinics. So there's a lot in the region. I suggest shopping around so that you can find one that you're comfortable with, build a history and a rapport with them, and then just keep going to that same one. So the walk-in clinics is going to be your option while you're here. Again, I skipped over the specialists. I had mentioned that it's certainly challenging, so Maple's going to be an option for you. It's not to say that it's impossible, but once you have that rapport with the walk-in clinic, you'll be able to talk to them about getting connected with a specialist if that's what's significant to you and what you need. The other option that people will think of, if you already know you need a specialist, is perhaps the specialist in your province now may know another specialist in Nova Scotia and may be able to refer you through. So you can try that, or also look at your Maple option. If you have a child that needs a specialist, that IWK hospital, which is the Children's Hospital, I would give a call straight to the central referral there and see if they can put you directly in. In some cases, depending on the condition, that they are able to. The IWK can't give you that family physician still, but they may be able to connect you with the specialist or the special center where you can get the need that your child needs, get the service that they need. The emergency rooms, as I said, there's quite a few hospitals in the area. So you can just go with whichever one is closest to you, whatever is applicable. I always say that if you have a child that is worthy, sick enough for an emergency room, you might as well take them directly to the children's hospital rather than going to the adult hospital first. So it's the best service for them, and it's not far to drive within the city. Lastly, we have a number of 111 services, I call them. 911 is for the entire province, and it does cover everything emergency. So it's one central place to reach fire, police, and ambulance. So that's no special prefixes, is the same throughout the whole province. 811, as I mentioned, is a telehealth service. It's manned 24/7. It is bilingual, and it is registered nurses that operate that. So they can help you with your MSI card, putting you on the wait list, generally you can just run ideas past them. A lot of provinces are developing this, so perhaps you're already familiar with that. 211 is community and social services. So it's a whole variety of things. They have a website as well as the phone number that you can call and connect with a variety of services within the province and within the city. And that too is a bilingual service. So there we go. A lot of information about healthcare. Hopefully you're seeing some workable options here, and it's just so great that you're learning this now. Do you have any questions on healthcare? You can raise your hand or chat. All right. Just remember, I'm always at the other end of an email or a phone. All right. Another thing that you can do. We touched on that when we were talking about our concerns in moving here. Finding employment. One thing that we hear quite a bit is that a lot of people don't realize that the number of hours that you need to qualify for employment insurance varies from province to province because it's partially based on unemployment rates. So the reality is that families can no longer live on one salary, and portability of employment is more critical than ever. So if EI is going to help you smooth that journey, that's great. So I would suggest, because of this variance between provinces, it's possible that you may qualify for EI, and you can look into that now or once you arrive. We are very fortunate at our MFRC to have a staff member that's dedicated to supporting the transitions for employment. She supports you in your pre-employment stage. So some examples of that are assessing your skills, a prior learning inventory, working on your resume, formatting, cover letters, and she can start you on a preliminary session for job searching and interviews, coaching and whatnot. You can see on the screen there, there's a number of community agencies within the area that get into the nitty-gritty of job listings and whatnot, besides the virtual things. So Nova Scotia Works is an agency that's in the Dartmouth part of the city, and Job Junction is in the Halifax part of the city. And as well, there's online sites such as Indeed and a variety of others. You'll note there the careers.novascotia.ca. Another thing that we hear as military families move from province to province to province is they'll find that their salary that they're used to in X province is different as they move from province to province. So you might be earning $30,000 in one place and earn $40,000 in another. So if you go to that website, you can find the category of your employment type, and you can see what standard wages are for that. And that way, perhaps if you're deciding what you're going to be applying for a mortgage, you have a much better picture before you even arrive here of what you can manage and afford. Lastly, a great option for military families, and you're new to this, but some military families will choose to be self-employed because it's a portable employment. And perhaps that's just where the heart is, right? So we have an Entrepreneurs Club within the MFRC. They get together, share ideas, and it also, with the membership, comes with free training through Enactus, through Dalhousie University, and the value of that's just incredible. It's a great, great option if that's something that you're going to be looking at. All right. So by all means, reach out for the employment thing. If you have any questions, again, just let me know. I'm going to just quickly do a little trick here because I've been talking a lot and I wanted to change the screen a little bit for you. I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see the MFRC website and where you can find all the links that I keep referring to on our website for coming here. So you don't have to do anything. I'm just going to switch it over, and as I switch it over, you're going to, perhaps the screen's going to go blue for a minute. Don't panic. It's going to come back, and you're going to be able to see what's on my desktop, and you'll be able to see that website. So, oh, did I hit the wrong thing? I think so. There we go. Can you see that? The Halifax and Region Military Family Resource Center. Oh, what happened there? Let's try that again. Joanna?
Yeah, just share your web
My
browser.
web browser, that's what I did.
But I think it's taking from, you might have to retype in the website. So see up there at the top, you see the little plus button?
Yeah.
Yeah, just go ahead and...
All right.
You might just need to redo it. Yeah, there you go.
All right. So as you can see, our website, the first website, is fairly easy to do. That's our home page. I know it takes a little bit to refresh on your computers, but just don't do anything. It's going to come for you. So from the home page, you can see there's a number of categories here, and go under relocation and welcome. So there's one of our military families there. And if you scroll down a bit, you're going to have an option to download a copy of our welcome guide. If you can see that there, welcome guide in red. So you can click on that, and that's a PDF version of all the information we've been talking about a little bit. It's got some of those links in there. So you can click on there. You will be able to click on the link for the Cape Breton one soon, but right now all of you are coming to the Halifax region. Andre, there's also a note here that you can see the link of how to connect with Andre Jacques. So Andre can connect with Andre. And she specializes in the Francophone services. She's got so many wonderful programs. So, and I also wanted to point out for any of you that are coming here with children or adults that have inclusion or special needs or anything like that, Melissa Clark is our Director of Inclusion, and we've got some wonderful, wonderful options and amazing programs here for that as well. Lastly, at the bottom here, you can see resources. If you click on that, that's going to link you through to a whole list of websites and options that I've been talking about as well. So they're going to scroll up here. There's just a ton of them. So now you've seen it. It's easy to do. Halifax and Region, or halifaxmfrc.ca. All right. I'm going to stop sharing, but you know that you can do it now. All right. So the last slide, as far as things that you can do ahead of time, it looks really full, doesn't it? So, childcare, schools, and activities. Oh my! All right. So we're going to start with childcare. I don't know how many of you have children. Can I just get hands up, raise your hand, or use the yes button if you have children, or if you choose to identify that you have children. So some do and some don't. Thank you very much for letting us know. So for childcare, we have a variety of options here. For those that have children, preschoolers and infants, so 0 to 4, we have a number of child care centers. The MFRC itself has 2 child care centers. There's one in Shearwater site and one in the Halifax site. The Shearwater site has 161 children here. It's the largest in the province. And the Halifax site has 62. Either way, whether it's our MFRC centers or whether it's the child care centers within the province, get your name on some waiting lists now. Even now today, while you're home, start putting your name on some lists, because some may have waiting lists that could be lengthy, particularly if you have an infant. So up to 18 months, they can have longer wait lists. If you can see there, if you just Google Nova Scotia ECDS, you'll be able to find all the province's licensed child care centres. And again, it's a drop-down system where you can choose what age you're looking for and what part of the city or province you're looking for, etc. The other option sometimes people will go with is private care. You can find private care through community bulletin boards, or as you may shop for a couch or something for your house, Kijiji. So Kijiji is where a lot of people will advertise for a number of different services, including childcare. And if you want a little bit more information, perhaps you're new to childcare, finding childcare, perhaps you're used to having a family member help you. Now you're looking for paid childcare. If you Google EdNet, you can find a lot of helpful information about just how to go about searching and what to look for. The next point, casual child care program. So that is not full-time care. That's just an option that both of our MFRC sites have, and it's helpful for appointments and a break if you're here already. A lot of people will use it for their moving days. So when you're moving, there's a couple of days of packing and loading all your things. And then once you arrive here, there's a day for unpacking all your things. And it could be a little chaotic. Each piece of furniture and each box is given a unique number. They call it a bingo list. And so you're trying to sort out those numbers. And if you have children around, it's awful kind of chaotic and disruptive for them and for you. So some people will choose to use the MFRC's casual care program to give the kids a break and give you that concentration to get what you need done. So if you need to have a full day's coverage, you can see there Tanya Chevre is the person you need to reach out to, because it's not normal process for us to have full days for childcare. They're usually just a few hours at a time. But if you want that for any point in your journey and your relocation, definitely reach out to her and book that ahead of time. Once you're here, you can also see that there's care on Saturdays. If you are looking to book care for a Saturday, again, you would need to book it way ahead with at least 24 hours, but preferably by the Wednesday before. So respite care, that may be a new term to you as well, where you're relatively new to moving and whatnot. Respite is it's a mental break for anyone that's taking care of the children. It would apply because the caregiver is the civilian at home and the military person is away. So it's to give you a mental break because you're being mother, father, and everything together. So if you are looking to use respite care, you would get in touch with our mental health and well-being team, and you can reach them at that 24/7 phone number that we've mentioned before. All right. There's lots of programs, of course, for the children and for families to do together. You can reach, again, that's once you're here, but you can reach out to that from the website. And we have an online registration program that's brand new, so you can try that out. If you have school-age children, you're going to be looking at a couple options here. We don't have any Catholic school boards, as Ontario does, but we do have two school boards. There's an English one and a French one. So the English school board would encompass teaching in full English and also French immersion. The French school board, CSAP, there's a number of French schools that are there. As for what school your children goes to, it's solely determined by your home address. So in all your things to do, definitely finding your home and your choices is important there. You can use the website, either website, to find out which school is tied with what address. In fact, the English one actually has a little school finder tool, and you put in your street name and it'll tell you. Or you can use that viewpoint.ca site and it'll tell you as well. If you can, when you're coming here on your house hunting trip, try to sort out the school thing if that applies to you, because our schools and the school board actually close for July and August. So you won't be able to get your kids registered if you don't get that done before the summer. If you have missed it just because of the dates of your house hunting trip, not to worry. There is one late registration day. It's at the end of August. So just keep that in mind as you're making your plans along the way. And again, lots of information. You can just ask me and I'll let you know and I'll help you through that. We do have a pre-primary program. It's for 4-year-olds. It varies a little bit. It's sort of new to the province, so reach out to me and I can give you some websites to check out to see if there's one in your area. The last thing that I wanted to touch on for school is just that it's a very short school day compared to some provinces. So a lot of people, if you're both working, will need some arrangement for childcare before or after school. Again, you can go with private or licensed. You can see a picture, a little icon at the top there, Excel. That's a program that's through the schools, but it's not in every school. So again, that's just something you need to research. You can do that now before you even get going in the move process and make a plan for how you're doing this. Lastly, just knowing that you're coming, just let you know that there is a great youth program here, including some summer camps.
Fancy.
All right. Yes.
Heather had a question. Do you happen to know what the school hours are?
In general, it's a 6-hour day from start to finish. A lot of children are bused. It just depends how far away you live from the school. So there may be some busing time in there. But each school, it's a little bit different for each school, depending what area of the city you're in. What you have to think of is that the same school bus will pick up the elementary school kids, the middle school or junior high kids, and the high school kids. So they just time out the hours of the school so that that bus can do everything in sequence. So again, you start with your home, try to figure out what area you're looking at, what schools are supported in that area, and you can start looking at the school hours and how that's going to fit with employment that you have or volunteering that you want to do or anything else. So definitely, if you have any questions, just reach out to me as well. But generally, that's what you're looking at. So about 6 hours plus and minus the school bus time if they're able to take the school bus. All right. Hopefully that helped you. All right, it's a little bit after 9, so we're just going to quickly touch on the things and wrap things all up for you. Being posted creates so many things to think about, doesn't it? But military families and members are just so incredibly resilient. You'll hear that word a lot with MFRCs, resiliency. You'll be able to do and accomplish so many things, and this move is just one of them. If you add together today's handy tips, connecting and encouraging, I know that you've got this. You guys have a lot in common. You know that you're not alone in this. So definitely connect with us en route through myself or website and Facebook. And don't forget the 24/7 number is there. The 24, again, it's for emergencies for 24/7, but you can always reach us, okay? I've listed the 2 sites at the bottom of the page there. So what's next when you do arrive? We don't want to put the cart before the horse. You've got a lot to think about right now, but I just wanted to touch on a few things. Did you make sure you arrange for children to come see us on your Unpack Day? Try to make your life a little bit easier, use some programs. There are many things that can wait until you arrive. So wait till you get those boxes unpacked, program your GPS to come see us, get your fridge stocked again, and take a little bit of time to be a tourist and get used to the city. Please rest assured that we're here for you with programs and services that connect you, the members, the spouses, the children to their community and to us. Maybe you'd like to volunteer with us and be our next star volunteer. Be sure to clear in. So the military member needs to clear in through our MFRC, and that will connect us with you, with your family, and to make sure that our welcome volunteers can reach out to you and tell you about some of these things that we've talked about tonight and more. they're real people that have done the moves themselves. You can also get a copy of our program guide and start working on touristy things to do and connecting with the whole maritime experience. All right, lastly, how are you feeling now? Hopefully, you might feel a little bit more empowered. Got lots of information. Perhaps you've been set at ease and feel good that there are other people in the same shoes as you, that Nancy's got this endless source of information, it seems. I don't, but yeah, just know that it's a great experience. Hopefully you're re-energized. You've got some tools that you can do that, and it really is, it's a great experience, and it's a great city to come to. It's been a real pleasure to meet with you, although it is virtually. I'm glad that some of you are starting to feel better about the move. And I can't wait to meet you guys in person. I know it seems like many things to do between here and there, but by all means, reach out, enjoy the journey, and go from there. All right. So at the end of this, I ask you just to think about what you might have learned or what inspired you from today's session. If you wanted to add something, I can see people are already putting this in there. Oh, I wish I had this before moving last year. yeah, it's the whole move process is a challenge, isn't it? I'm so glad that you guys are sharing a little bit. It may seem like a little thing to you, but it helps other people know that you're sharing similar experiences for sure. I thank you for participating today. You come from far and wide, and what has virtual learning done? It's brought us all together. It's just a wonderful thing. I wish you all the best in your house hunting trip and your travels, so please have safe travels. Again, I'm thankful to True Patriot Love for having given us the funding to train me and both of our MFRCs in doing this virtual training and being able to reach out to you across the miles. And lastly, if you, when you're ready and you want to close out the session and leave, there will be a survey at the end of it. It's just a short survey to get a little bit of feedback so that I can tweak this for any future sessions when I'm talking to people coming up. Does anyone want to speak up or add anything? I can see that we've got a lot of
I agree, Nancy.
good feedback.
I wish when I had moved to Halifax, I had been able to hear all this information.
No.
So if I ever move back, I feel way more equipped now.
There you go. There you go. It seems like a lot of information. Just rest assured, all this is on the website, and that there are many people that can help you along this way. So yeah, I'm glad. I'm so glad that you're all here.
And Heather has her hand up.
Heather.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you're able to, I know real estate agents can give us a bit more information, but I didn't know if you would be the best spot to start to kind of learn about the different areas of Halifax, the good areas, the bad areas, great areas for kids, you know, because looking everywhere from Halifax to Full Harbor and not ever being there, I don't even know where to begin.
Right, right. Yeah, a lot of people have that question, what's a good area and a bad area? I can speak from the one part of the city that I live in, and I quite love it. What you'll find is some people like it in a certain community and some people don't. So some of the things that I had mentioned earlier towards the beginning of the session, so thinking about where is your spouse going to work. So commuting issues, school issues, if you need to go to work but you only have one vehicle. There's a lot of different things to consider geographically where you want to live, and then you can also, once you start narrowing it down, so like you said, if you narrowed it down to Cole Harbor, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a rental? Are you looking for a house? And you can start narrowing things down. Talk about your priorities with your real estate agent or your rental agent. You know, I want an open concept home, or I want to have a big backyard, or I have to have a fence because I have a dog, something to that effect. So slowly you'll be able to narrow it down. And you don't have to have it down to one neighborhood before you come on your house hunting trip. You can pick out a few neighborhoods let your real estate agent know ahead of time, and when they take you around to all these different homes, you'll start to get a feeling for each community. And that real estate agent may be able to tell you a little bit more about each community as well. Like I said, it's 200 communities melded together into one, but it depends what sort of things you're looking for sure. If anyone's not seeing, just in the chat there, Joanna shared a group of military spouses. There are some military spouse groups within the local Halifax region as well, but I certainly encourage you to take our MFRC site as well on add that or like that to connect there. And there's some great, once you're here, coffee groups that we run where you can meet other spouses and start connecting and talking about things as well and get used to the community and where's a good place to buy fresh vegetables and whatnot. So it's a process of just narrowing things down, but you'll find a lot of awesome communities all throughout the city. Hopefully that was helpful.
So in the chat box, I put the link to the Halifax MFRC Facebook page, and then I also put the link to the Halifax Spouses, so Canadian Military Spouses Facebook page, and that's a group page, so you do have to request to join. They just might ask for, like, you know, where you're going, some proof that you're a military family.
Exactly. Another option once you get here, and I know you may forget this in all the travels, but our MFRC has an electronic newsletter that we send out every week, so you'll be able to connect with other military spouses or families or members by watching the e-notes and learning what's up and coming in programs within our own MFRC and that we're affiliated with. So it's a great option once you get here too. Very good. All right. I'm so happy that you guys are sharing all this. Again, your question, maybe there's someone out there that's just listening and not sure, couldn't ask or whatever. So this is what it's all about, sharing the experience and knowing that it's all going to be good. We're here to welcome you for sure. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come out.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
So again, thanks, everyone. You can just X out when you're ready. Drop me an email.